Hey there, it's Alwyn, better known as the voice behind Averin, with a word from our sponsor. This session brought to you in part by Fiverr, the best place to find freelance services for your business. Whether you're in the market for commissioned art, or even script writing, which I probably should have utilized prior to recording this so I didn't have to do it 6 times, you can find on Fiverr. It's a whole world of freelance available right at your fingertips, with options for every budget. Find high-quality services at every price point, no hourly rates, and just project-based pricing. You'll find quality work done quickly, with the right freelancer to begin working on your project within minutes. Your payments are protected, every time. Always know what you'll pay up front, and your payment isn't released until you approve the work. And know that Fiverr has your back with 24/7 support. Not in the market for services, but looking to augment your own income? Fiverr is powered by freelance artists just like you. So
Hi
sign
everyone,
up today
this is
at
JJ,
fiverr.com.
the co-founder
That's
of Good Pods.
Fiverr.com.
If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Welcome to the world of Saluna.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Queers and Spears presents The World of Saluna side quest, Bottom Sept. I am your modest game master, CJ, and with me, as always, are my Sacred Seven. Say hello, Sacred Seven.
Who's that?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello there.
In our first and very last episode, we found ourselves in multiple homes and different establishments following 7 complete strangers who all showed up to Valiance Peak to have a party. At least that's what they thought was happening in their mind. But it quickly turned into the desecration of the ancient formation, and quickly, our players discovered that they were not here for just any old reason, that they were in fact chosen. And when we last left off, each of their names were called in front of this large crowd, and they were brought to the front, in front of everybody, and then quickly pulled off into the vivarium by the king's soothsayer, Exdralia. As you guys enter into this vivarium, you are quickly all hit with the sense of a very, very warm environment. You all live in forested, kind of tropical kind of area. So you're used to a little bit of like humidity in the air and a little bit more warmer days and stuff like that. But you walk into this sunshone room and it is hot and muggy in here. You can see the ley lines of the humidity just wafting in the air, just surrounded by like tons of plants and little like birds chirping and flowers just abundantly growing, all different types of wildlife and all different types of plant life, just beautiful colors just all over the room. And you walk into like stone flooring with peaks of like moss and grass that grows in the natural cracks of the stone, leading you all to a large table that has a chair for each of you, along with a couple of other people who are joining you here at the table. Also joining you here in the room is the 4 guards, which were previously mentioned in the last episode that were posted inside the vivarium. 2 are posted on the interior doors that you just entered from, and 2 are posted to other doors that seem to lead to the exterior of the home, possibly the backyard-ish area. You see that the soothsayer, Exralia, also joins you and is sitting at the side of the table, not quite the head. King Eros is also here. He takes a spot at the head of the table, which has the only seat. It is also the largest seat. It seems as if they placed it there, knowing he would sit there. Kind of plops himself down in that chair. Also, General Felix McCuster is here as well. He is standing off to the side of the king. Where would everyone like to kind of sit? So there are 2 spaces available up close near the king that are kind of like off to the right-hand side of the table. The left-hand side of the table, the very first spot next to the king is taken by Exralia, but there is a seat next to Exralia, and then the rest of the seats just kind of wrap around the table. The general is not sitting, he just stands nearby. Very close, but not nearby. And for a quick description of the general as well, for characters who didn't have an opportunity to look at this person, now you see the general, Felix McCuster. He is about 7 foot tall centaur man with dark brown hair that kind of wraps down his body and leads to dark black hooves, and a very long with small strands of braids in his black, almost black but dark brown hair on his tail that kind of sticks out a little bit from the hair on his body. There is up top is a masculine form. The man has kind of a darker skin pigmentation, with small scars across his face. There is long antelope-like horns that protrude from his forehead, and he has like very shockingly blue eyes with dark brown messy hair on top of his head. He wears a button-up white crisp shirt with a green vest over it. Where would everyone like to sit?
I think so that nobody else has to do it, Freya will sit next to his father.
Freya, you take a seat at the head of the table, next to your father.
I think Encina is going to take the seat that is whatever seat is like the most in front of the king, and she's just gonna kind of stare at him menacingly, like with a little bit of a leer in her eyes. She does not like this dude at all.
Yes, so would you like a spot that's kind of across the table from him so that you can leer across the table? Or would you rather be closer to him while still just looking at him and leering at him?
She wants to leer from across the table because she wants him to see her in front of him, but she doesn't want to be anywhere near him. So across the table.
You can take that. There is another chair It's a smaller chair compared to the king's chair on the opposite side, but you can sit on the opposite side of the table towards the end at the bottom. There's probably about 4 seats on either side of the table. That is basically the distance between you and the king. So about 4 people's worth as far as the table goes. I would maybe say it's about maybe 12 feet long in total. So it's only about 12 feet between you and, this king.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So Encina will take one of those seats.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think R will sit next to Encina and hide by her impressive visage.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Is that what we're calling them? We're calling
I was
them
like, I want to sit next
visage
to
now?
Encina and just hide.
Yeah, I think that she's gonna take most of the attention, so we're just gonna stay on the side of
Listen, Encina's fine with it. Encina's out here.
like a tractor magnet, basically, And just
Yeah.
all eyes on
As
her.
a distraction.
I do. I was. Nikki, does R kind of like try to actually hide by Encina, or is just like sitting next to her?
He's just sitting next to him. It's just his thought process, like, all right, there's this thing. I'll just sit off to the side. And everyone will look there instead of me.
Damn.
Thing. Damn, Encina's a thing.
A whole
We
ass
haven't
mountain.
met yet, so I don't know you.
Ours
So
are misogynist.
feelings one way
Check.
or the other. Click Clack is just going to take a chair. It does not matter to Click Clack.
A chair.
Question. Is there
Yes.
another chair at the front head of the table? Or are they all taken?
There is a spot that is next to your son, which would be about 2 seats away from your husband. But there is only 1 seat at the head of the table. Seems like it was set up with the intentions that the royal family would not be chosen. So they didn't accommodate for seating nearby. I'm sure they could switch it around if you had wanted to sit by your husband. Or if you would like that, a guard can move that for you.
No, she would like to just sit by her son.
Okie dokie. So you take a seat next to Freya. Next to Melano, I'll go ahead and put Click Clack there in that 3rd seat on that side. And then we'll do R, and then Encina, and then Woe. Because you 2 are next to Encina. And then who's left? We're still missing
That would be
2 more.
Oriana.
Miss Oriana. There is an empty seat next to Extralia, or a seat currently next to Woe.
I actually think she'll take the spot next to Woe because I think she wants to be in a spot where if she speaks up, they can see her and she can be heard, but also she doesn't want to be right up in their face. Because she does have very strong opinions now that she's able to actually voice. So I think she would take somewhere where she can kind of take the stage if needed, but without overpowering the room.
Mm-hmm. Well, logically speaking, you are kind of in the middle of the table, so you could command it from one side in a way. Which is good. You were going to say something, Freya?
Can I shoot off a message towards General McCuster?
Yes, you can. And actually, before I do that, I completely forgot to mention it. You guys all leveled up to level 3.
Oh,
Wonderful.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Sick.
That's what I'm talking about.
My powers.
When I just kind of look at him and point, and he hears, it's probably a bad idea to flip the chair so my mother can sit there, right? Instead of him.
McCuster receives your message and looks to you, and he is like, it would be kind of you to, well, he messages you back with some magical ability there. He messages you back, he'd be like, it would be kind of you to swap seats, but if the queen had wanted to sit next to the king, I'm sure she would have requested it.
With that message, he leans over to his mother and goes, would you prefer to sit next to him?
Aye, Freya, you are the chosen as well.
Yes.
This is far from a usual circumstance, isn't it?
Well, you're the queen.
Aye, that I am. She raises her head and she's gonna look at her husband, probably fully for the first time since she was chosen. Can she read him at all, CJ?
Absolutely. Anybody at the table who would like to can go ahead and roll me an insight check.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's roll this shit.
Are you kidding me right now? I got a 3 insight.
Ooh, insight is
Damn it! That's just an 8.
dirty 20 for R.
Hold on.
Damn! Are we seeing?
Y'all be seeing.
I am not seeing. I got an 8.
I gotta get to my sheet. I was in the middle of leveling it up.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I was.
No, take your time. I totally apologize for not saying it before we
That's
started.
alright. It's all
But
good, my
you guys
friend.
all level up to 3. Really quick, just for those who rolled from a 20 to a 15?
Click clack.
It was insight that we were rolling, right?
Insight, yes.
Encina did not. She's too focused on this bitch in front of her.
I got a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay, so 3 with a 20, and then something else within that range. What about a 14 to a 10?
Oh, that was Encina got a 10.
Beautiful. 12. Awesome. And then who had 9 and below?
I did.
I got a 3.
A 3.
An 8.
Yeah, the queen is off her game today.
Oriana's just something
Distracted by
else right
Felix,
now.
let's be honest. It's okay.
She's just happy to be here.
Who isn't? We all are.
Everyone's the world is kind of all anew for all of you at this moment, and some of you have a firmer grasp on the chaoticness of life over others. Those of you who got a 10 or higher can notice that the king is very drunk. He's very visibly drunk. Those who are 10 and under, he just kind of looks like out of it in a way, like possibly like inebriated, but like just out of it. Those of you who got over a 15 specifically, he looks like very kind of like in his head at the moment. It's very likely that he was very much not thinking about the fact that not only one person from his family could be chosen, but 2 people from his family are chosen. So he's kind of seems to be reeling with that fact, and also dealing with the swimming that is currently happening in their head.
Also, DM, I forgot. Due to my homebrewed class, everybody within 30 feet of me while I'm channeling an emotion gets a +2 to their ability checks, saving throws, and attack rolls.
Incredible.
While specifically wisdom while I'm channeling the tranquility emotion.
Beautiful. Perfect. So I believe this one, insight, that's intelligence based, I believe.
Insight is wisdom, I believe.
Is it wisdom? Okay, cool. So then everything then is then a +2 added on top of the numbers. So then I believe 2 of you rolled over 20 with that then, and those 2 of you do see the the quick darting of the eyes kind of going back and forth as he's trying to kind of truly like contemplate like what's going on here. He's not speaking though. He's just kind of like sitting there slumped over, like kind of mad, but also like mostly just like something you don't normally see in a king. You see fear. And as the king just kind of like sits there, he's currently got a glass of a very dark red wine. Then he's just kind of swirling it around and just drinking and drinking. As soon as his cup empties, a servant comes over and fills it up without having to say a word. General McCuster steps forward, and he's like, "Okay, you are all chosen." What does that mean? Well, you can kind of see that he's like trying to kind of like say the right words and like taking a second to kind of like decide how he wants to speak this. And he is like, so the prophecy tells that the Sacred Seven will be called upon when the island needs you most. Well, unfortunately, we believe that the island does need your help. We need you, if you are willing, and I hope you are willing. I mean, you were chosen. There's got to be a reason for that. We need you to travel into Puppet to Called.
Is that the only information you have?
Called.
Why are we going to Cold?
Too cold for what?
We
And why are we hopping
need
the
you
phone in
to-
the first place?
I wish this didn't happen. He's kind of like looking down a little bit and just kind of like trying to speak out what happened without like causing a scene in here that could distract from the party that's happening behind you guys. You can hear behind like glass panes the like echoes of a party happening in another room while you are discussing something so grand. McCuster looks to you all and he's like, so the information, so what we need from you is a retrieval. An item was stolen here from the vivarium, and we desperately need it back.
So you want us to retrieve some precious thing? I don't understand why the 7 are needed for that.
Also, what's the fucking item? You ain't told us that yet.
That too. And honestly, if this is such a big deal, if I may, we need to know the whole truth here. I don't want any sugarcoating. Please, just be honest with us. Because whatever we're walking into, I sure as hell do not want to die trying to save whatever the hell it is that you lost. Or allowed to be lost, for that matter. I thought this place had better security than that.
I agree with this one. Full transparency or you get nothing.
General, if I may, seven chosen is a lot for just an item retrieval.
You're right, my queen. It is simply an item retrieval. However, unfortunately, the item that was stolen was Nuna's grace.
Of fucking course it was. God damn it.
It's always something with the gods, isn't it? Always the...
Yeah, because the gods fucking suck.
But
I disagree. They're not all terrible.
I don't understand.
Let me break everything down for you so that you have all of the information.
Please.
Nuna's grace is a flower that formed on the ancient formation and was repotted into another plant, into another pot, and thrived. It is the only plant of its kind. We have not been able to find a replicant of this plant. The legends of the ancient formation say that it came from the sky, and that's all the information that we have so far of this plant. But what we know of the plant is that it can perform miracles. Miracles like healing sick on the verge of death. It can heal deeply wounded battle scars. It can calm one's mind that has been driven to insanity. It is got so many purposes that we don't even know what it can do. We have only used it for the things that we've talked about. However, a week ago, it was stolen from us. Under the cover of night, it was taken. The guards that were working here have already been terminated, and new guards have been put in their place, and double the guards have been put in their place, but it's already too late, for Nuna's Grace is gone, and the only trace or track that we have is word from a nearby town that says that they saw somebody going through and heading north. That's most of the information that we have. We continue to receive information on the daily about possible whereabouts. We have stations that are from here all the way into Called. We have allies from here until Called. And they will home you and house you if you so choose to go on this mission. But they also have information, and they are keeping watchful eye for this. But from what we know, they are heading towards Called.
Is this the reason for my father's failure?
Yes. We really do not know the power in which this plant holds, young prince. And we really do not understand what it can be used for. We have done everything to keep it for the good of humanity. To try and heal on great levels. Provide vaccines for people to keep them safe. But we also try not to use it too much before we fear if we use the whole plant, there will be nothing left, then what more can we use from it? So we just take small pieces from it. And so our research has been limited.
So, Mida has been a failure, is what you say.
You see Eros glares at you when you say the word failure. He does not say anything. And McCuster speaks up and says, "It was not a failure of the king, it is my fault. I am in charge of the guards, and I should have placed more guards here in the vivarium, knowing what treasures lied inside."
But how can you do that with a drunk for a king?
No, I agree with France.
Freya is correct. You can only do so much when you are given the orders from a drunkard.
You see the king just kind of like moves his eyes across the table, like kind of glaring between those of you that are speaking up in this moment. It's not saying anything.
Well, why don't you say something if your eyes got so much to say, huh? What, are we not good enough for you?
I think Freya turns and glares back at him, as if to say, try something.
He won't do anything. He's too much of a coward.
Noe clears her throat at this moment, and she tries to get their attention. She shakes her head. She goes, "Some things are out of the control of others. Now we need to think calmly about this. What good is fighting and pointing fingers going to do any of us? We were selected to do a job, weren't we?"
With all due respect, Your Highness, I know what you're trying to say, I understand. But you also have to understand that some of us in this room have seen the horrors that lie outside of your walls. And some of us got some things to say to this fucking piece of shit right here, okay? And I understand he's your husband. I understand I'm speaking out of turn. But this is ridiculous. You're calling on 7 strangers to go save some priceless item that was supposed to be under your care, that was supposed to be for all the people, and yet you're still not using it on the fucking impoverished. There's so many people out there dying. I see it every fucking day of my life.
No,
I don't. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mandy.
No, you go ahead. Get it out.
No, Encina's, and that's pretty much all Encina had to say.
No. Noe kind of ducks her head a little bit, like almost in a bow, but is looking at Sina, and she, introspection kind of crosses her face, and she nods. She goes, "I understand. And I hear you, and what you all have been through, what you have been through, it isn't right, and it isn't fair, and I know you all want answers. So let's find them. You should feel free to air your grievances. I was not trying to silence you. I apologize."
I think Encina sees that the queen is trying, and that perhaps her anger is misplaced and is perhaps a bit useless in this scenario, despite how angry she is, not only for everything that the king has done to the people outside, but for her being in this position, because this is the last fucking thing she wanted. But she realizes that her anger is not towards the queen. And she sighs and she bows her head a little bit and she says, "Your Grace, I apologize. I was speaking out of turn. You're right. We should be working together if we're going to get this thing. If we're going to get this thing back in the right hands, especially if we don't know what it does. I apologize for my words, and I hope we can work alongside each other going forward."
Noe goes, "I was not thinking of the bigger picture like I should have been, and that I should be doing."
No, but you're right, ma'am. You're right that we should be working together, because that is part of the bigger picture. You are correct.
We'll figure it out.
I
look forward to working alongside you all. Freya.
Is there some way you all could show us what is happening outside? I would like a chance to fix it.
You
The
see
mistakes.
Oh, no, go ahead.
The mistakes of my family are unfortunately ones that are already made. But here there is no speaking out of turn. We are all equals here. We are the Sacred Seven that are picked. So, say what you need to say. Our status does not matter anymore.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do have a question for the Furbolg as to why specifically we were chosen. I understand there's a prophecy and stuff like that, but I can't think of myself having any skills that would be useful in getting back said precious flower.
You see Ixralia kind of stand up, and they're like, yes, So, the origin of the ancient formation is not necessarily known, but the arcanic ruins and things that are actually on it kind of maybe suggest that it was sent here by possibly gods or aliens. I do know that the type of plant structure that is located here on this or was the formation, it's now crumbles, is not located anywhere here on any of the islands or any other island that I've been able to research. So it's like foreign plant material that leads me to believe it's from somewhere else that I can't necessarily explain. But the arcanic ruins on the thing do specifically state out that that it reads out the poem for you, and they read out the poem and the prophecy reads out that Monday's child is fair of face, and Tuesday's child is full of grace, and Wednesday's child is full of woe, and Thursday's child has far to go. Friday's child is loving and giving, Saturday's child works hard for their living, and the child that is born on the Sabbath day is bonny and blithe, and good and gay. And underneath that is a quick description just stating that when the time is right, the seven will be called. And that's truly all that's written on there.
So, we're each representing one of those days.
I would assume so, yes.
And how are we to know which one we are? I mean, honestly, I understand that by this prophecy, that means we bring something that is needed to the table, but how are we supposed to know exactly what that is if we don't know why we were chosen? I mean, I guess we need to go state each day we were born? Is that what you need us to do?
Well, I mean, that could be one very simple way to, possibly do it. If you happen to know the day on which you were born, then it could possibly work out that way. But as far as your, what you bring to the table, per se, let me all see the palm of your hands.
I immediately put my hands under the table.
Dude, same.
Yeah, Encina speaks up and goes, "You can see the palm of my ass."
Can I make a question, DM?
Not the palm of my ass.
Oriana
about the flower?
clutches her hands together and brings them to her chest and says, "Is that truly necessary?"
What was your question, Andrew?
1 second. Yeah, 1 more second. What was the question?
As a druid, I want to know if I know anything about the flower before we
roll me
just go right past it.
Yeah, roll me a history check.
Be history?
Yes. Or nature.
Oh, good. History. I am in nature. Alright, I got an 18. 16 plus 2.
16 plus 2. Awesome. So you've heard of the flower, known as Grace. You know that it contains some sort of magical and possibly medicinal properties. There's really no origin for this plant specifically. No one has been able to pinpoint it, like Exarlia was kind of babbling and trying to explain in a way, is that the legend, and as far as to believe the legend is what is true, this great formation, this ancient formation, came from the sky and landed here in Valiance Peak with this flower attached to it. So there's really nothing that links it to here or even the Fae in any way, shape, or form. This is something that's very otherworldly to you. But you do know of the plant and that it has some sort of medicinal medicinal and also magical properties.
Is it a plant?
It is a plant, yes.
Can I, to myself, just cast locate animals or plants?
What's the range?
5 miles.
5 miles. It is out of range.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Sick.
But with that, and also with your nature check, and then using that spell as well, like as an underlying, you can tell that you're getting the direction that it is accurate to what General McCuster has told you, is that it is heading like basically north, and north is basically past Dornwich and then Called, which is the very top. So it makes sense that they would say Called.
Okay. Can I just like add a little bit more flavor for that? One of the flowers in my hair turns into that Nuna's Grace just for a second and wilts in the direction north.
Love that, absolutely. So
Can
you
I-
see everyone. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, can I do maybe like a perception check since I'm sitting next to Woe to see if I notice this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You are sitting next to me.
And then I think Oriana is on the other side, so Oriana, you can also do that perception as well.
I got a 9. I'm not rolling great tonight.
Start adding blood.
9.
Did you mean Encina, CJ, or did I mishear that?
No, I believe Oriana is next
to Encina and
to.
Oriana.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Encina and Oriana can roll for
Encina's on my
perception
other
to see
side.
that.
I think I got the layout in my head confused because I
No,
thought
you-
Woe was
I'm
in between.
Between you and Oriana.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm on your other side.
Okay.
So if you want to make the perception, I think you can.
Yeah.
But it's
Really quick as well, while you're rolling, I'll just quickly lay out the table, starting at the top. King Eros. Sitting next to him is Freya, off to the king's left-hand side. Then it's going to be the queen, Noe, and then it's going to be Click-Clack, and then it's R, and then it's Encina, and then it is Woe, and then it is Oriana, and then there's an empty chair, and then there is Extralia.
Okay, dope.
Perfect. A chair for throwing.
I'm next to the bird.
Perfect chair for throwing.
I think Freya offers his hands.
Okay. So, those who offer their hands do, and those who offer their hands don't offer their hands don't. Regardless of it, it was more of a kind of like, look out, here it comes, rather than a, like, let me see your hands. As you see Exralia kind of cast some divination magic over you all, and starts to kind of, like, sweep over just, like, general thoughts on everyone's minds. Nothing gets too scraped and nothing gets deep down, but it's more like a general, like, check to see, like, what your, like, main focus in power may be, or what your contribution to the group may be. It's just basically a vibe check. As he just...
We've been indicted to the House of Vibes.
Yeah. He's just doing a full vibe check
Arrows
as he
fails.
goes around the room. And then Exralia says, "Oh, well, so as it so happens, you all do happen to be born on the very specific days that are listed on the prophecy. You all are born on different days of the week. According to, like, the stars and astrology and things that I've read in different textbooks, according to the time and day in which you are born, can lead to different strengths in personality as well as different weaknesses. And so it is thought that the perfect pairing of people is going to be one person from every day of the week. And looking at each one of you all, I see you all have something very different to offer to this table. I'm looking among you all, and I see some that are incredibly strong and hearty, and I see some who are just whimsical and brimming with magic, and others that are just got a full noggin full of knowledge, and I just feel like each one of you has something that could help each other out when you need it."
Thank you for the astute.
Deck.
Yes, Thank you. So, that being said, since most of us anyway, are strangers, do we need to go around the room and tell about ourselves? I understand that we're trying to locate a plant that is God's nowhere right now. But I guess getting into this, we need to know who we're working with. And since I guess I brought it up, I'll begin. Huddle aside, my name is Oriana Starweaver. I have studied many years in artificery, and I have also trained as a bard. I am not only able to aid with magic and performance, but as well as constructs and other things I have built and happy to show and use. I like to consider myself a bit of a jack of all trades. But given that, I am quite excited to work with all of you. I'm not very well experienced with the world outside of a few missions I've been on with my father, the Duke, but I'm quite excited to see where this will lead. Now, I am well adept in many of things, so combat, mapping, anything like that, I will be happy to offer and aid you all in. So that is what I bring to this table tonight. Who would like to go next?
I think Freya will go next. I think he looks at all of you and goes, well, you all seem to know who I am. As it's really necessary to introduce myself. Freya Valiance, Prince of Sunmore. It's hard to explain what I do. Magic is something I can do, but it's hard to explain and you have to see it. But I can channel my emotions. And help those around me. In ways. And he sits down.
Well, if I may, that's not a bad thing to be able to do, Your Highness. Having compassion and empathy helps people.
Yes. But I haven't exactly mastered it.
Well, that's all right. You got a whole journey ahead of you.
Yeah, he kind of slumps after he says that.
If I may, Your Highness.
Kind of leaves him.
Your Highness, I don't believe anyone, if they're truly honest with themselves, have mastered their emotions. Granted, yours are a bit different than the rest of us, but I think we can all safely say that we're all trying to master that, and some of us may spend our whole lives doing so. So, there's no shame in not being a master of something. We're all learning, and if you can't learn, then, well, you can't grow. And I believe there's more to life than simply just existing. So, I think you'll get there, and maybe this will aid you in that. But,
hopefully.
I believe so.
It's also taken the first step to realizing that, you have emotions in the first place, and I know that sounds really stupid to say, but some people just don't think they do, and that deeper to explore. So the fact that you are and you're deciding to turn that into your source of power, I think is a mighty fine direction to take yourself in. So good job is basically what I'm trying to say.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
I guess.
Well, go ahead, Nikki.
Oh, you go.
No, I've been talking so much. Please go.
Oh, Operation Billboard failed. All right. So,
Don't worry, I still got it.
You can't get out of talking. You can't.
all right. R is gonna stand up. Good evening, everyone. I go by many names. I used to be the son of a noble family. Unfortunately, that family is no longer here with us. And so I've come to go by my stage name more, as I am a traveling bard. Just looking to make a bit of coin. I was invited under my noble name, but I rarely use it now. You can all call me Freddy. My full stage name is Frederick Faro. And I look forward to getting to know all of you. And then he sits back down.
Well said, Freddie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as
Yes.
well.
Nice to meet you, and I'm quite excited to see what you have up your sleeve. I always enjoy a fellow bard.
Perhaps you could play something for us sometime. I have a feeling we're going to be with each other on the road quite a bit. And Noe... Sorry, go ahead. Nikki?
Oh, I have many a song to play for you, Your Majesty.
Noe has a hint of a smile on her lips and she nods her head. She goes, looking forward to it. It's a pleasure to meet you all formally. I am Noe, Melanoe. You do not have to address me as queen this whole time. Please don't. And she's like steadfastly ignoring like perhaps looks from her royal party. She goes, I know this must be a shock to all of you, as it is for me as well, but I think that we will do just fine, don't you?
Yeah, I reckon we'll be alright.
She, has anyone not introduced themselves yet?
Yeah, I think it's Encina and Woe haven't introduced themselves yet. And Click Clack.
And Click Clack.
And
Okay.
Click Clack.
Okay, so Noah's gonna kind of flicker her eyes over the three that have not been introduced, and she kind of tilts her head. She goes, and You are.
I think Encina will go. Yeah, Encina kind of sees that Woe is hiding and is like, you know. And she goes, oh, well, my name's Encina Virgil. Been all across the map, both in Sunmore and Puppet. I've seen a bunch of shit. I'm a sword for hire, a hand for hire. I'll do just about any job you want me to, provided if it's for the right price. I ain't studied shit. I don't really know shit. I just kind of learn as I go, so what you see is what you get, pretty much.
Sometimes that is the best time to learn.
It's true.
As we grow.
Yeah. I don't particularly like the premise of this whole Sacred Seven, but I won't deny that it is probably the most interesting job I'll take.
The day is not over yet.
This is true. And I think Encina is going to kind of like turn a little bit towards Woe and be like, "You're mighty quiet, child. Are you all right? You don't got to say nothing if you don't want to, but we would like to know your name, at least, if that's all right with you."
I am sorry.
It's all right. You ain't got nothing to apologize for.
My name is Vo Velkadak. I am the granddaughter of Spring Velkadak, the ambassador to Velkadak, or to puppets from Velkadak. I do not think I should be here. I think someone else would be the more fitted to be the fated. Thank you. I will go. And I'm gonna start walking toward the door.
Wait.
I think Oriana is going to quickly
Yeah.
follow. No, wait, whoa.
Yeah.
I understand. This is terrifying. Believe me, I understand very much so. But you were chosen for a reason. Give yourself a chance to at least hear it out. You can always go home.
Be the reason, or it could be the no reason, or it could be that perhaps the wimpy arm king wants the job.
Let's not. Well.
No, let's. I think let's. I agree.
Then the ugly boy, and I'm pointing at Janice.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
At Janice?
Yeah. If Janice is in the room.
He's not, I don't think.
He's
not.
He's outside.
Miss Woe.
Woe points to the door. The ugly bitch outside.
Oh my god. Miss Woe, wait, just a moment, please.
She's not wrong.
She not listening? Is Woe gone?
Here.
Okay. She's Noe looks at Woe and I don't know, I think part of her is like, oh, another one of my babies. And so she's gonna try to use like a mothering tactic and be like, please sit. We must talk about this. Like adults.
Whoa, if I may, if you are uncomfortable.
It's not my fault. The plant was taken, yes? And so someone else do it.
Well, I completely agree with you on that. I totally agree that it is not our job to do this. But someone thinks there's something very special in you, that only you can do this. And that's not something I myself have ever experienced. But if I may say, I think you should give it a shot. And if it ends up being something you decide, well, this is not my cup of tea, then you can leave. You can go home, and we'll see to that you get there safely. So if you will at least hear us out and see what we have to offer, maybe we can see what happens.
I suppose that I am interested in the plant. I will find it, yes? And
I believe you will.
eat it?
Sure, you can have a bite. I don't see why not.
Yes. Then I will do mine best.
That's all we can
Please?
ask.
I think. Does Woe sit back down?
Yes.
I
But
think
like further behind Oriana.
Yeah. I think Freya kind of looks down at Beater and is like, "Go give the little one comfort." And
You see
sends.
Vither kind of like snakes down through your like clothes, because Vither made himself comfortable in your like long sleeve and is just like noodling up against your arm as flat as he could possibly do it. So instead of coming out the hand pocket, which would be the fastest, most direct route, instead he pulls a 180, goes back up towards your armpit and then down towards the floor as he crawls across and underneath the table up to Woe. And Woe, you feel Vither down at your feet, just kind of like scurrying around your feet and kind of like pawing at your dress, kind of like asking permission to come up.
As I can communicate with feet, I guess I say yes. Come aboard?
Yeah. Yeah, so you kind of like give a little tap like with your toes, and you just kind of like give the little signal for Vither to kind of come up, and they fully go into your like dress pocket and like curl into a full circle.
Yes.
I think the only one who has not introduced themselves to the party is Click-Clack.
Everyone's probably just looking at you.
So Click-Clack's been silent the entire time, just mostly taking in all the information that has been like just basically thrust upon them. And he doesn't know why he's there. I mean, obviously nobody knows why he's there, like why any of them are there. But he really doesn't know why he's there. He doesn't have like royal bloodline. He doesn't have like any outstanding skills or anything. He just has a boy that he wants to take care of. So, Click-Clack kind of like just takes off the little monocle that he stole and takes off the top hat and sets it down. He stands up and he places his hand on his chest and he just says, Click-Clack, please help. My son is very sick. And then he sits down again.
So, as you guys are all kind of coming to the reality after introducing yourselves, saying your names out loud, and getting a good look upon each other's faces, Encina and Click-Clack, you recognize each other.
Oh shit. I think Encina. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think Click-Clack is like trying very hard to not make eye contact with Encina.
I think Encina sees that and respectfully also does not make eye contact with Click-Clack. There's a part of her that wants to interact, but she doesn't want to do it in front of everybody. So I think she might wait until there's like a space for them to have privacy.
Absolutely. This recognition in each other's eyes, knowing just how dark each other's pasts are without a word being said, you guys silently plan to possibly have a small conversation later when there are not so many eyes and ears around. And McCuster, after you all introduce each other, introduce yourselves, he looks over and he's like, well, since you all know each other's names, my name is General Felix McCuster. I am the Royal Guard and the guard of the royal family here in Lenloch. I have been doing this duty for over 50 years. I very proudly wear my coat of arms and very proudly protect my queen and my king and the family. As much as I am a guard and I can offer you protection while you are here in Lenloch, I cannot go with you on your quest up north. Unfortunately, duties call for me to stay here. But if you all choose to accept this mission, we can set you all up with individual rooms, feed you, dress you, give you nice warm clothes, give you potions for the road, and the king has also offered to open his vault for you all so you may take an item of needing on your journey.
Well, that's just the kind of thing he's done since we got here.
He has just been, like, everyone, like, during this entire conversation, the, like, talking woe in and everything that's been going on, all during the interactions, the king has just been silent.
Because of his weakness, right?
Yep.
I think
The alcohol.
Freya looks at Felix and is like, I heard you correctly. We can have any item?
The king kind of, like, darts his eyes between you and General McCuster, knowing damn well what's in that vault. And McCuster, without breaking eye contact from you, says anything.
I'll choose first.
If I may, before we get into this, Your Highness, Oriana looks to the king. I want to hear your thoughts on all of this. You're the one who gathered us here. You're the one who requested the 7. So, if you would do me the honor, because I am willing to take up this mantle as one of your 7. I am willing to go get this plant. I am willing to do what is ever needed to bring back something that will do good for the world better than your rule has ever done for any of us. And because I am doing you and all of us this courtesy, I need you to tell me exactly what you think and what you need from us. Because by God, if we're going to do this, then I want to know everything I'm getting myself into. So please, speak your mind, sir. You've been awful quiet. And I can tell by your gaze, your mind is elsewhere, but please, for a moment of sobriety, I would love to hear whatever it is that you originally believed and wanted us for.
Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check.
All right.
Your DC is 5. He rolled a 5.
I'm pretty sure I have. Considering I have a +5 to persuasion, I already got this.
No, you can. It's just don't get a 1. That's basically all I'm asking. Don't
I
get
got
a
a
1.
15, so we're
Yeah,
good.
Then you're great.
You technically
Get
had
it,
a
bitch.
+6 because my aura gives you a +1 no matter what. But when I'm
Okay, so
chained on this
16.
double,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. So you look, and the king, everybody who has recently looked at him and like kind of is just examining his behavior throughout all of this, he's deeply uncomfortable with all of the, let's be honest here, shit talking that's been happening at this table.
Listen.
And he stands up. As he stands, you notice that he is not as tall as Freya is. Freya is a very tall satyr. But he only kind of stands at about like 6 foot, maybe 6'1" on a good day. But he's also a very portly man, with like a large, unkempt red beard and like bright red hair. And he had like his fur, he as a satyr is very like gray, white, and black speckled. And he looks out to all of you, giving each one of you a second of eye contact. And then he's like, we need this plant back. There are too many unknowns about this plant to leave it in unsafe hands. And if it is going anywhere into Puppet, it is unsafe. It is also unsafe as a journey. The woods, the wilds, there's a reason we have not expanded beyond our walls in many, many years. The woods have become unkempt, untamed, and they've changed in a way. We've sent guards after guards post of inspection and evaluation of the lands that are happening around and what's happening around us. And all we know is that over the past 5 years or so, the plant life has begun to change. They've grown larger, stronger. They grow taller, their roots thicker, breaking up the grounds. And with that as well, the animal life, they've grown, they've gotten huge, their antlers spreading 10 feet wide. Animals in sizes that even match your size, and looks over to Encina. There are creatures out there that have taken many good men. And it is a dangerous journey. But if this plant does not go retrieved, I fear in the wrong hands what this could mean. And so, the magic rock from the sky tells us that the Sacred Seven are the ones who are here to save us. I've known this my whole life. I've heard it my whole life. And now, 300 years later, the Seven are here. And we feel like it is important enough to ask of you.
All right, to the armory then. I gotta get paid.
I gotta get paid.
I think as Eros was talking, Freya was already standing at the vault looking at McCuster like, are you going to open this thing?
Right. Well,
Yes.
Thank you, Your Highness, for giving us no new information and telling us what we already knew.
I don't know how dangerous it is. 10-foot antler sounds scary. Like a hacksaw.
He kind of like rolls his eyes at the like no new information, and he's like, well, how about this for new information? Your reward. And he looks to all of you, and he's like, for now, I will be giving each of you 2,000 gold pieces and one item from my vault. Upon successful return of Nuna's grace, you will each receive an additional 20,000 gold.
Ready?
How about this, Your Highness? How about this, Your Highness? General over there was saying something about how this plant has healing properties, correct?
McCuster nods and says, yes, that's correct.
Well, if I heard my little ears correctly, that gentleman over there, the Kanku, said his son was very sick. I think you should offer him some of that plant for coming out here and doing your business.
Absolutely. We will offer the largest petal at the time of retrieval. And Click-Clack, you know that is more than enough to come up with some sort of healing properties for your son. And from what you've heard about this flower, it is truly a, like, miracle elixir and could very well fix everything that is wrong with your son.
Click-Clack fully bursts into tears.
Oh, baby!
Don't you start crying, because now I'll start crying.
Oh, God!
Freya turns for a second and looks at his father and goes, not only his son, but every other person that is sick gets help
No, I agree.
outside this wall.
I agree. If I may, as kind as 20,000 gold is, I believe there are better rewards you could be giving us as well. Money is not really something I particularly need, but I believe upon successful return, I would like to discuss my reward with you in person.
That can be arranged. And
I
anything
need that
else that you
written
feel
down.
like you may want to substitute for the 20,000 or feel like you also deserve alongside, we will make amends and try and make it right for you.
I think I'd also like to take that offer. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, all I was going to say is I would like to have this in writing.
Of course. And he takes out a little like stack of paper from like a book bag that he has like next to his like chair leg, pulls out a couple of pieces of paper, and he's like, well, it's going to take me a while to write 7 contracts, so feel free to go and browse the vault while I write these up.
Freddy's right behind Freya.
Yep.
And General McCuster leads everybody, unless there's anything else anyone wants to say before we leave the vivarium.
Oh, absolutely not.
I was just going to say that Encina will probably like linger towards the back of the crowd, kind of hoping to get Click-Clack's attention if Click-Clack wants to talk to her, but she's not going to force it. She just wants to say hi.
I think after like standing up for Click-Clack and like getting the petal promised, Click-Clack absolutely will go talk to Encina.
Yay! So I think when Click Clack, accepts her invitation, Encina makes herself as small as she possibly can. She sits literally on the ground and looks Click Clack in the eyes with this kind of familiarity that Click Clack would only know because of where they've been. And Encina looks at Click Clack and goes, all you need is faith.
Click Clack looks at Encina and just opens up her mouth and says, and a steady hand.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Listen, you don't gotta say nothing. We both know where we've been. But if it means anything to you, if you got that little boy at home sick, I will be your shield. I will help you as much as I can. Because that's all I've wanted to do since leaving that place. So you've got a friend in me, as they say.
Click Clack is gonna look up at Encina, and they're gonna open their mouth again, and in a voice that Encina would recognize, just says, "Dumb bird, today's the day you die." And then just kind of goes quiet again.
Yeah, Encina, you definitely recognize that voice.
I'm assuming it's someone she's intimately familiar with.
Absolutely.
Cool. Click Clack can, and it's not directed at Click Clack, but Click Clack can see the veins about to burst out of Encina's forehead, and she goes, "Yeah, well, darling, listen. If we cross paths with that man again, when we get to Puppet, it's not gonna be you who's dying that day. I promise you that. So, you just stick with me, okay? I promise I won't let you get hurt."
I think Click Clack is just going to hug Encina.
Oh! I love that. Encina, just because of the sheer size of her and how small Click Clack is, she very gently hugs him back. She doesn't want to crush him. But she gives him a hug and she says, for what it's worth, I didn't want to come here. I didn't want to do this. But I'm glad if it means I could, if it means I can meet you, maybe it's worth something. So, and Encina hugs him a little bit tighter.
As you two share this deep personal connection, each knowing just how dark each other's past is and what you may have done to survive this long and be separate from where you once came. You guys share a knowing and deep, friendly but intimate hug as you guys kind of relieve each other's stress and know that you guys are going to have each other's backs through this mission. As General McCuster leads you all down a hallway away from the party towards the vault, you all approach a literal metal vaulted door that McCuster, you see he grabs that wheel and he just starts to kind of spin it, and for a second it doesn't move, and then it just spins and spins as it opens up, and the vault door opens slowly to reveal a large corridor that stretches from one end to the other that is just filled with bookcases upon bookcases of magical items. And from here you are all welcome to take a uncommon magical item for your use. And
Freya's gonna push his luck.
Freya, you can go ahead and give me a stealth check for the item that.
Stealth check.
Yeah, because
Okay.
McCuster's here.
Okay. This is important to me. I'm going to take a blood die.
God, you should spend
Incredible.
nothing.
This is gonna be a little odd, but before she goes into the vault, can Oriana take a moment to kind of inspect the vault door itself to look at the mechanics of it?
Absolutely. You can give me an investigation check on that if you'd like.
Awesome. You can do Freya's thing while I'm doing this.
Just the maniacal giggling.
Yeah.
Hey, DM, you're gonna hate me.
Yeah.
That's another 30
Good.
on a nat 20.
Oh,
On
Lord.
a natural 20
nat
all the way to 30.
Does that double it to 60?
Screaming. Well, so technically it's a 31 because I get a +1 due to my aura.
You are level
lord.
3, sir.
Act like it.
Act like it!
Start rolling normal numbers, all right? That's too high for me to count. So, yeah, a 30 beats the DC 15 I rolled. You can have your belt, sir.
Yes!
In other news, Oriana got a 17 on inspecting the door.
Nice.
Incredible. That is a normal number for a 3rd level character. What are you looking for within the door? Like, are you looking at the mechanics, like how it works, or like just like if there's any designs or any encryptions or anything along that lines?
Kind of both. She wants to see what exactly the door is, how the door is put together, but also because she wants to see how easily it can be broken into. Because as an artificer, you need to know how easy it is to get into whatever was built. Because she wants to make something, or she strives to make things that if people take them apart or try to break into them, they either fail safe to where they cannot be opened, or they explode, or if they're trying to be put back together, it does not work anymore. So she wants to learn the mechanics of it. She wants to see what kind of magic's used. She just wants to see if she were to be faced with this door when it's locked, how easily she could get into it, but also how it works.
Awesome. So on a 17 investigation check onto the vault door, there's no like encryptions or magical encryptions that you see like on the exterior of the door. But upon further investigation, you see a small little rune that is attached to the mechanism that holds the circular wheel that opens the door to the door itself. And as you're kind of like looking deeper into it, and you know like some magical ruins, you had to kind of like tamper with that stuff as you were building your Mockingjay. You can see that this one is like a spell that is like a recognition spell. So it is only recognized users within this spell's like jurisdiction can physically open the door. And as you kind of like tamper with the wheel to kind of like check it out and kind of like see what as it works, you see that as you go to try and like spin the wheel to try and like actually move the mechanisms that are located inside the interior of the door, you cannot physically move it. Even on a natural 20 strength check, you cannot physically move the door wheel. But all of the mechanisms for the door are connected to that little like piece that's connected to the door, and it seems to go inside the door where you can hear like the clicking and turning of wheels. Notice on the outside of the vault door there are 3 like what look like circles on the outside, which what you would assume are the locks of this place. And so when the door is closed, those locks will be activated by the wheels inside of the vault door that then jut out into the 3 openings that are located in the like door frame for the vault.
Okay, fascinating. And with that new information, she begins to actually browse what will actually help her upon this. Sorry. The artificer's got an artifice.
Oh yeah,
Fuck
of
yeah.
course. You gotta look at the shiny stuff. Absolutely. So you all take your time in browsing these items. You are welcome to stay as long as you'd like into these vaults to pick out these items. For you all, you're welcome to, if you've already got something picked out, you can go ahead and add it to your inventory. If you don't, you have until the next time we record our next episode to pick one out. So don't worry about that if you don't have anything in mind. But after everybody has chosen their item and placed it upon their person, you are shown to individual rooms here in the castle that are set up for guests, for guests. As opposed to Freya, you have your own room to go back to, unless you would like to take the guest room that has been made up for one of the Sacred Seven, as well as Melano as well. You have your own bed to go back to with the king, but you are also welcome to take the guest suite if you so choose.
I think I'm gonna stand back and wait to see what my mom decides on whether she takes a guest room or not.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah. Because I don't think Freya's going to sleep.
Fair, there's a lot on your mind.
Like, not go straight to sleep.
Right. Yeah, you're welcome to all, you can mingle amongst yourselves. They're not discouraging, talking or chatting amongst yourselves. They're mostly just showing you, where your beds will be located for the night. There is, a common area that is located basically right outside most of your doors. All of your rooms are kind of in a single corridor area. So there is a common area where you all can actually relax and hang out. There are always servants and handmaidens walking around. Freya, there you can always call upon your personal servant, whose name is Sorius, if you needed anything specifically for yourself. But you all basically have the rest of the afternoon to yourself. McCuster did say that they would send you off tomorrow morning, allow you all a full night's rest and a full long rest before taking off the next day.
I think Freya just retires and kind of goes and sits out on the balcony. I think he decided to take a guest room.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he sits out on the balcony and just kind of looks up at the stars.
Okay, no problem. So you kind of retire to the guest room and kind of sit out on the balcony and look at the stars and at the constellations and stuff that are forming out in the night sky as the day starts to turn, as dusk falls and the moon starts to show on the vast tree line that you can see from your little balcony that is beyond your walls and out into the great unknown in which you'll be headed tomorrow morning. What about our other friends? Did you want to, there's always still a small party that's still happening downstairs, but you all did also receive some life-shattering news, so it would be kind of expected you maybe not wanted to go back to party unless you had business or things that you wanted to take care of out there. You're free to chat amongst yourselves before the end of the night, though, if anyone wants to chat with anybody.
I think Oriana, just because this is such... She was not expecting this. She was never expecting this. Doesn't really know what to do or feel about all of this. She doesn't exactly know how to feel about herself, the situation. And I think part of her hesitates in the hallway to go back to the party to speak to her parents one more time. But instead, she just goes to the nearest, I guess, common area, and still in her full gown, she takes off her crown and the shoes and her gloves, and she sits in a chair and just sets her hands in her lap, and she rests her head back and takes a breath. And I think for a moment she expects to wake up at her desk, that this didn't actually happen, it's a dream. But when she opens her eyes again, she's still there, still in the common room. And I think part of her wants to reach out to the others, but part of her is also nervous too, because she doesn't want to overstep or this is something she's still learning, because she's trained to act around people much like herself, much like the prince and the queen, but she's not used to being able to have a normal life. So I think she'll take a moment to kind of reflect and let herself kind of relax. And I think she'll fiddle with her hand a little bit as she kind of just takes it all in. But she is open for all conversation if someone were to join her.
Sounds scary. I won't.
That's fair.
Sounds like so much. So, Oriana, you take a moment considering going out and speaking to your family, people you've confided in for your whole life and who they've protected you for all of yours, protected you from yourself, protected you from your own mistakes, tried to protect you from the world as we knew it, and became even more protective after your accident a year ago. And you take a moment and you think about what becoming your own person means to you, and you decide to step away and enjoy the silence of not hearing other people's judgmental thoughts in the back of your own mind.
The only judgmental thoughts she hears is her own. And even for the moment, they're quiet. And I think for just a split second, she finally lets her guard down, her shoulders sink, and she's able to breathe for the first time in so many years.
You enjoy the deep relaxation of finally getting the opportunity to go out and show what you can do to other people. And I feel like, is there anything else that anyone else would like to do for the evening?
DM, quick question. Did we get our money, the one that we sponsored first already,
Yes.
or not yet? Okay.
Yes. You all did get 2,000 gold up front.
Good, we were quite worried about our payments. It's going to be very useful.
Added it to my.
You need your money to buy things.
I would like to talk to my husband at some point, but that could be next one.
Do you guys have a money
He's
problem?
probably
Kyle?
gonna head back to his room.
Perfect.
I would also like to have a conversation, but I'm good waiting.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, Encina, who did you want to speak to?
Well, it's not actually anyone we've met yet. But I think Encina's, you know who it is, CJ.
Gotcha. So we'll do Melano first, and then we'll come back to you.
Yeah, perfect.
So, Melano, you walk away from the corridor where the Sacred Seven have been placed. Your son staying in the guest suite for the night. You walk down towards your own living chamber. So you share a room with your husband, King Eros. You walk into your room knowing that your children have all been handled by your handmaidens and got into proper night gear, as your handmaidens usually do for you, to allow you some breath of fresh air. You go into the king's and yours room. You see it is fairly neat in here. It's fairly put together, but it's mostly by your own doing. The king's side of the bed is a little bit messier than your side. There's clothes kind of astray, and the drawers are kind of half opened and half closed at the same time. And you see the king in bed.
Is he asleep, or is he just chilling there reading his nightly materials? His nightly romance novel? Okay.
His nightly romance novel.
Okay, insight. No way, girl. She got a 4.
A 4. With a 4, oh man. So he appears to be asleep. He is like half under his covers. You can tell that there is a line of the clothes that he was once wearing that evening leading from the door to his side of the bed. But he appears to be asleep.
She stands there for a moment and just looks at her presumably sleeping husband. And just a look crosses her face of like exhaustion, but also exhilaration. And she quickly wipes it off her face, and she walks closer to the bed and places her palm on the mattress. Eros, wake up.
You see he kind of rolls his head over in your general direction and opens his eyes. My queen.
Do we need to talk about what happened tonight?
I don't... There's really not much to talk about. I didn't fucking expect you and Freya to get picked in the choosing.
Well, it's not like I could have helped that, Eros.
No, I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm not saying you did this or you had any thought or anything of it. I just, it's really, just is going to be harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was just going to be sending 7 strangers out to the woods, but instead I'm sending my fucking wife.
Why'd you say it's like that?
Because I don't fucking want you to leave.
And why is that, Eros? Because you'll miss me. She kind of looks like gives him a look of disbelief. She goes, You don't think I'm worried about leaving you here behind?
No, you know I could take care of myself. There's just shit everywhere. Like, just proving the absolute opposite of what he just said.
Oh, Eros. This castle, this kingdom, it needs me, but you need to learn how to take care of it your own. Are you going to be able to do that?
I guess I'm going to have to. I'll do it.
She pushes herself away from the bed. She looks around the room at his items clearly strewn about. I am going to go on this mission because our kingdom needs protecting. But you need to figure out how to be a king without me by your side.
He looks down a little bit, nods knowingly, and then looks to you and be like, are you going to stay here tonight? Or are you going to use
Should
the
I?
guests? I'd like for you to share my bed. But I also won't be hurt if you choose not to.
She looks at him for a long moment, like she's trying to decide. I think I need time to think, Eros. I will take the guest room.
He says, as he just kind of like pulls the covers up a little bit over his indisposed self.
You need to get some rest. And tomorrow, in the morning, you need to save face. You need to show the kingdom that everything is going to be okay. I need to know you can do that.
I can do that.
Okay.
Sleep tight.
She pauses at the door and doesn't glance back, but just looks forward. You as well, Eros. And she
Shut the door behind you. Closing the door, literally and figuratively, on one chapter of your life. Where do you go?
Where do I go? Where do I go indeed?
Your options in front of you is one that you can choose to not to disclose at this time. You can visit your son, your youngest son. You can visit any of your other children as well if you wish to see them. You will have an opportunity to see them before you leave tomorrow, but if you wish to pop in, say goodnight to any of them, you're welcome to do so. You can also adjourn yourself to your guest room.
Hold on. I believe... I'm going to message DM real quick.
You're welcome to do that if you'd like.
Okay. So, I would like to go talk to my right-hand man, Felix McCuster.
You walk in the direction of which you last saw him, passing your children's rooms and watching as he closes the door on your last child, making sure that they're all safe and sound for the night. As he meets your gaze and he's like, "My queen."
General, do you have a moment?
I do.
She steps further into the room and makes sure that there's nobody around. I cannot guarantee what is going to happen in the future. But if something were to happen, you will be here, holding it down. Correct?
Aye. That's right, my queen.
Okay.
You know, as well as I do, that the king may step up, but he may not step up as far as he needs to. And I will do everything in my power to keep this family safe, to keep this kingdom safe and running in order.
You can kind of see Noe breathe a sigh of relief. I need you to make sure that he does what needs to be done. I know that I always have, and I know I don't need to say it. But perhaps today I need to say it.
No.
Yeah.
I will make sure and do what's right. But, if I may be bold, my queen, I do not wish you to go.
Felix. I have a duty to uphold the prophecy. And I cannot say that part of me isn't excited to go out again, to be out in the kingdom, to go back to Puppet. But I'd be lying if I said a part of me did not want to go as well.
I know you will return home to us. But while you are out there, I hope it brings back the memories of the adventures that I know you for.
I am hoping to make new ones. And I hope that once this is over, I'll be able to come back and tell you of them.
I cannot wait for that day.
No,
he kind of
go ahead.
Shuts the door behind you guys, leading into the hallway.
Wait, we're out and we're now in the hallway?
No, you are now in currently sleeping Pluto's room.
Oh, from baby Pluto's room. She diverts her gaze from him to her baby. And she walks over to his crib and places her hands on the side and looks down onto his sleeping face. I'm doing it for him and for my other children. You know that's right.
I know you did anything for them. They are
I
your
would
whole
do...
world.
Yes. I would do anything to protect everything in this kingdom. And she locks eyes with Felix then. And it lingers for a moment, and her heart breaks as she steps away from her baby's crib. You know I don't like goodbyes.
Then let's not make this goodbye. Let's just keep it at, I'll see you soon.
I can do that.
And he hugs you deeply.
Noah absolutely hugs him back. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say with a sleeping Pluto next to you all, doing everything in his power to not make too much noise to awake the child he just laid down to rest. You guys hug and embrace, knowing that you will see each other again someday.
Oh. She... Take care of yourself, General. And with one last kind of lingering squeeze, she steps away from him. I'm afraid I have to go back to my guest room now.
He does his best to hold onto your hand for as long as he can, as you're trying to, walk away, knowing you have to get some rest before the next day. And right before it feels like it's just been a little too long of him holding you back, he lets you go.
Her hand drops to her side, and she's still looking at him for a long moment before she nods to herself. Until next time, General McCuster. And she looks at him, looks at her baby, and then she walks out the door.
You walk out the door towards your guest suite to tuck in for the night. Encina. Miss Beef.
Yellow, 100% certified Angus beef.
100% certified Angus beef. You walk into your guest room. It is a very nice guest room. You know, you're used to kind of taking what's at the tavern, and it's usually shared with a couple of people. And you kind of take what you can get as far as where you're going to be resting your head for the night. And this is a nice place for the night. It's a really cushy mattress. It's really soft pillows and a very nice heavy blanket. So you're gonna stay nice and toasty through the night, which is something that you don't necessarily get 100% of the time. Most taverns are nice, but they're not gonna be anywhere as nice as this.
Absolutely. And I think part of the thing is that usually the beds are too small to accommodate Encina, so she's just kind of all right, well, here we are.
Yeah. It's a fairly large bed, but it for sure doesn't quite fit you. It's kind of it's at least 7 feet, 7.5 feet long. So it's mostly just maybe your calves hanging off the other side of the bed, but you can get most of your body on the bed, which is pretty decent. A lot better than the, like, pop-up little, like, cots at, like, really crappy taverns you've been to before.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely, that's delicious, for certain. Yeah, so Encina's gonna, walk in, kind of see what she's dealing with for the night. And she kind of looks around and she's like, well, this is interesting. And she's gonna take it in, kind of walk around for a bit, just kind of like pacing back and forth, is just very wrapped up in her own mind at the moment. Because there's a lot of things that she didn't have to really think about until tonight. There's a lot of things that, like, she'll think about in passing, but now she, like, really has to, like, look at these things that are in front of her, and it's a lot. It's drudging up a lot of old memories that she has been trying to make peace with for the longest time and hasn't been able to. And she's pacing, and eventually she says, "Fuck this shit," and she goes and she changes out of her dress and into her normal clothes, because she just feels more at peace in that, because it's familiar, it's what she knows, she's most comfortable. So she changes into her regular clothes and sits on the bed for a little while, and she's got her hands just kind of clasped together, and she's staring at the floor for what feels like hours. And eventually she goes, "Are you around, Cast?"
And as you say that, you just hear a voice coming from over close to the balcony and be like, "Man, it took you long enough."
What do you mean it took me long enough? I just fucking got here. And Cena gets up and walks over to the balcony.
You've been staring at the floor for 2 hours, kid.
Well, fuck me if it didn't feel like 2 hours, okay? I got a lot going on up here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously. Look at you. In a group. On a mission. Fucking weird.
Yeah. Definitely fucking weird, especially considering I'm getting thrown into the whole divine again, which is not my... I have to be honest. And Cena comes up kind of like over it and looks out at the castle below and like the going.
They join you standing next to you on the balcony, but they are leaning backwards up against the balcony as you're staring out. Kind of have their back up against that lean, and they're kind of like leaning back, kind of looking at you. They've got a like all black 3-piece suit on that kind of blends into the natural skin tone of black underneath, that creeps up his face like tendrils that crawl across his jawline that expose a red face and dark pupilless black eyes. But as you stare into the face of this, honestly, demon, you're not scared. In fact, you feel comfortable.
Yeah, and Cena feels like this is as much as she's ever is being this creature, and she takes a moment, sits in silence with him for a little while, which is interesting for him because he doesn't really do silence, and she looks over at him and goes, "I know you're gonna be a not ask you this, but I guess I should ask it all the same. What the fuck am I doing, Cat?" Like, this isn't...
Well, no, this isn't you. This is not you. This isn't your thing. This isn't usually what you do. This isn't normally what we do. But hey, I promised you growth, I promised you opportunities, and I promised you an opportunity for revenge. Isn't that right?
Yeah, you did. I mean... Yeah, you did.
You will not be able to avoid them on your journey.
Yeah, that's, I figured that. And don't get me wrong, there's part of me that thinks this has just been a long time coming. Part of me that just never wants to see that man again.
I hear you. I would, if I were you, I'd blow his face off the moment I saw him. But, you know, you could still do that, but at least you have some people behind you now. Not only that, you've got Click.
This is true. I'm really glad he's okay and that he made it out of there. I'm kind of concerned that his little boy is so sick, but we can get this fucking plant back. We can, you know, fix the kid, and maybe it'll be happy ever after for somebody.
Oh, for sure. No, like, I'll be honest here. If you get that plant and you come back, kid will be fine. People will be fine. He'll heal. He'll get well. He'll live a long, happy life.
He deserves as much for what he's been through.
You just be careful. Be observant on your way up. The king was, not very 100% honest with all of you on the dangers that await you out there in the wilds.
Well, considering I called him shit, I'm not surprised, but if you want to enlighten me, that'd be nice.
Oh, you can't learn it right now. I'll tell you in a minute.
You know, you fucking suck sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like the first time since Encina's got to the party that she like genuinely starts laughing and like a smile on her face. And she, even though Cast is a formidable creature, she does still like very gently punches him in the shoulder and goes, "Well, I guess there's got to be something I like about you. I'm keeping you around this long. It's been, what, 5 years?"
Yeah, it's been a long time we've been hanging out.
Yeah.
But hey, you'll do fine out there. Just pay attention to everything, alright? No little detail is too unimportant.
I'll keep that in mind.
Alright, well, I'll see you in a few days. And then he snaps his fingers, and he is like dust on the wind.
Encina watches as he disappears. And though she says this, there's a big smile on her face, and she just goes, "Fucking bitch."
You see the dust form a middle finger as it floats away.
Encina bursts out laughing.
It just dissipates. Like, you see it for like a good couple seconds as it then dissipates on the wind.
Encina's fully fucking cackling. Anyone that's around can hear her and probably think she's a fucking crazy person if they don't already.
Oh yeah, there's a very tall Goliath who is laughing probably at the top of their lungs right now. So anyone who is staying next door can definitely hear the laugh out loud.
Yeah. And if there is anyone who is next door, they're welcome to come out and say hello.
I'm on my balcony.
Yeah, so you probably would have. You are on the opposite side of the hallway, Freya, so you would not have heard this conversation.
Okay.
But you being out in the open air when Encina was laughing, you would have heard Encina laughing.
I don't think Freya's perturbed by it. I think at this point he's used to it. With
loud, boisterous laughs.
Yeah, with his father's parties and the guest rooms.
Absolutely.
I will say just for flavor that it's not like Encina genuinely sounds joyful. Like she just heard the funniest fucking thing she's heard in her life. It's not like a maniacal laugh. I just want to float that out there.
Oh, yeah.
100%. It's like a situational laugh in a way. It's so funny because everything's around you right now is just kind of grim in a way.
Yeah, everything's kind of topsy-turvy, and she's
so this kind of bit of humor is just absolutely top-tier humor at this point.
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to do, unless anyone wants to come talk to her.
I think then, as you all kind of have your conversations with people and tuck in for the night, coming to the realization that a true adventure is starting for you all tomorrow, as you all drift into deep, long rest and dream about the unknown before you, dream of the trees, the grounds, the earth, the stars, the moons, people you may meet, people you have met, all swirling in your head with different possibilities, as what you know in front of you is unknown. And this is where we're going to end our session.
Yay.
Woohoo!
Oh, it was so good!
I love that. Thank you again, CJ, for DMing this little series.
Absolutely.
And thank you everybody who's come back again for another week to listen to us. We will be back next week with another episode. Pay attention to all of our socials for upcoming special events if we have upcoming mini series or things in the hiatus whatnot. Announced is the story of Before, which I am currently working on. That will be released once I am done recording all of the episodes. And we will see you next week. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.